So very warm welcome to all of you guys. Now today we are going to start with a new topic, new chapter, new head, which is capital gain, which is most important in terms of CA final. If I am talking capital gain, business profits in these two chapters, right? The bigger chapters and have more importance. Up to CA intermediate and IPCs, you might have studied these things. Technically, you know everything how to compute capital gain and everything that you have studied. But in CA final level, they are willing to test your what interpretational skills. So we need to study each and every aspect in depth. Okay, we know very well how to compute. It is very easy. First of all, this head is very easy in terms of computation. When it comes to computation, it is very easy. But when it comes to interpretational skill, then what happens? We need to study each and every aspect and everything, right? So without delaying, let's begin most important chapter. Now your real final journey begins, guys. So be careful. First, our first 2-3 sessions will be very important, because in which we'll discuss about very basic things, right, in depth, each and every section and each and every definitions. Okay, so first of all, I'm talking about capital gain. First we discuss chargeability, section 45, right? Very much important section. Section 46 I will discuss about liquidation and certain things. Then we'll study about mode of computation. Mode of computation means what? That how we will compute capital gain. As I have told you earlier, in section income from salary, income from house property and capital gain, these three heads have their particular format of computation, that how you are supposed to compute. But in case of business profession and IFRS, there is no specific format for computation, right? So mode of computations we'll study in this. Then certain special provisions regarding transfer, that what kind of transfer can be considered as the exempt transfer and it will be out of purview of capital gain and everything. And certain kind of cost of acquisition related provisions, section 47, 47A, 49 and 55 we'll study. Thereafter we'll study about special provisions regarding determination of sale consideration and etc. everything in case of slump sale and depreciable assets and everything, that how to compute capital gain in that case. And thereafter we'll study about exemption. Exemption means what? That though it is a capital gain, but it will be out of purview of income tax because it is a exempt. Section 10 and section 54 series we will study. Okay, so very first of all, tell me one thing. Capital gain is a capital receipt, right? So can we consider this capital receipt as an income? So remember a day one discussion in which we discuss about that basic chapters, right, in which we discussed definition of income. We have also studied breakdown of income, whether it is a capital receipt, whether it is a revenue receipt or not, right? So in definition of income, this capital receipt, right, it is specifically included. That's why this capital receipt is taxable. Okay, let's see. Charging section. What charging section says? Section 45. Section 45 is talking about if any capital asset is transferred. Listen carefully. We'll study each and everything in detail. Don't worry. If any capital asset is transferred and if there is any gain or profit, then such gain or profit will be taxable in the year of previous year, means taxable in the previous year in which such transfer took place. Here is a definition of capital. Here is a charging section given under this section 45. Let's see first what definition says, then we are moving ahead. Let's see what says. First of all, let's discuss a little bit. See what I have discussed yet. Whether capital gain being a capital receipt can be brought to tax as an income? Yes, definitely, because section 2 clause 24. Remember that table I have shown you in very first lecture. Near about 22 items were there in definition of income, right? So section 2 clause 24 includes, specifically provides that income includes any capital gains chargeable under section 45 subsection 1. Now we are going to section 45 subsection 1, that is charging section. What it says? See, any profit and gains, any profit or gains arising from what? Transfer. Transfer of what? Once again, transfer of capital asset effected in previous year shall be chargeable to income tax and such deemed to be the income of previous year in which the transfer took place. So first condition is it must be a capital asset. There must be a transfer. Okay. If there is a profit on going, or if there is gain on such transfer, then it will be taxable in the previous year in which transfer took place. So now a question will be raised that can we consider any income? Sorry. So now a question in your mind would be, now question in your mind would be what? First of all, what is capital asset? So we need to study definition of capital asset. Capital asset defines under section 2 clause 14. Okay. If it is not capital asset, then there is no calculation of capital gain will be done. Okay, so it must be a capital asset. Then there must be a transfer. Now what do you mean by transfer? Once again question arises, right? Sir, what do you mean by transfer? Transfer defines under section 2 clause 47, and there are certain special provisions regarding which is exempt, which transfer is considered as a what? Exempt transfer. That will study section 47 once again. Then if it is a profit or gain, then there are two types of profit or gain. One would be long term and second would be short term. Sir, how can we say that that particular gain is a long term gain or it is short term gain? It is depending upon nature of asset. Sir, how can we compute that nature of asset? We need to decide what? Whether asset is a long term asset or is a short term asset. If it is a long term asset, then gain will be long term. If it is a short term asset, gain will be short term. Right? So for that, I need to determine whether it is a long term or short term. I need to determine period of holding. Period of holding means what? That from date of acquisition to date of transfer, during that period, it is known as what? Period of holding. That I need to determine. So period of holding, it's also defined under section 2 clause 42a that we are supposed to study. Okay. Then one more thing. If there is a profit or gain, then we will compute under this head. But what if there is a loss? Do we need to compute? Because charging section do not says that if there is a loss, then we need to compute also. Do we require to compute loss also? Remember one thing, income includes loss also, right? So whenever we are talking about assessment of income, it always includes assessment of loss also. So we need to compute loss also under this head, correct? Okay. Then certain exceptions regarding what? That what we say that such gain will be taxable in the previous year in which such transfer took place. But there are certain exceptions. What? Insurance and everything that we will study. Okay. So now question arises, sir, what do you mean by capital asset? Now let's see definition of capital asset first, and then we'll move ahead. Okay. So first of all, let's discuss capital asset. First definition. Let's start. Capital asset section 2 clause 14. What it says? Capital asset means property of any kind. Very wide meaning. Includes everything. Any kind of property will be a capital asset. Held by assessee whether or not connected with his business or profession. whether that particular property is used for the purpose of carrying on business, profession, etc., or whether you are using for your personal purpose, each and everything will be considered as what? Any property. Okay. And second, it says any securities held by FII which has invested in such securities in accordance with SEBI regulations. Now, as we very well know that FII, that is foreign institutional investors, are very big investors in stock market, and they are regularly dealing in securities, in purchase and sale of securities. So now, if they are considering it as a capital asset, then any profit arising from such transaction will be capital gain or capital loss. Now, in a very first lecture, we studied that we need to differentiate properly, we need to classify properly, because mode of calculation and everything are different under different heads. If I am considering this as a business income, right, then there will be a different calculation. Tax rate would be different. In case of long-term capital gain, tax rate is different. Earlier, there was a exemption under section 10 clause 38 about long-term capital gain on transfer of equity shares was exempt. Right. So what happened? FII are considering this as a what? Capital asset. But however, in ITO, that is income tax officer or assessing officer, what they are treating? They are treating it as a business income. If they are treating it as a business income, then they cannot claim exemption under section 10 clause 38, right? Earlier it was exempt, right? In 2 years back there was amendment, so it is now taxable. So FII made representation to the finance ministry that we are facing this issue. So what they have said, they introduced this key clause. What it says, it will be always treated as what? Capital. It will be never treated as a stock in trade. Okay. Remember, in first lecture also we have discussed this. There are securities, if I am dealing in securities, whether it will be my business income, whether it will be capital gain, or what. So in which I have taught you that there is some intention I need to consider of that particular investor. If he is investing for the purpose of investment, then it will be again a capital asset. If he is having regular dealing in that particular stock, then it will be business income. If he is having a speculative motive, then it will be speculation, right? So I need to consider these things. First of all, these two things, one is a property of any kind, second is a foreign institutional investor if they are having any investment in shares and securities, right? These two things are capital asset. What does not include? Does not include means what? The following assets are not considered as a what? Capital asset. First, stock in trade. Stock in trade, it means what? If you have any business and you have a stock in trade, though it is your asset, though it is your asset, but it is not your capital asset, because it is out of definition of. Remember again, day one studied two things: circulating capital and fixed capital. Any income deriving from circulating capital, it's a trading and chargeable under that PGBP. Any income deriving from fixed capital, capital receipt, chargeable under the head capital gain, so it is a circulating capital, right? So any income arising from transfer of stock in trade is what? Revenue receipt, and it will be income of business profession. Clear? So stock in trade is not at all capital asset. Then personal effects are not capital asset. Personal effect means the things which I am using for my personal purpose. And one more thing is there, what? See over here, personal effect, that is to say, one is a personal effect and it must be a movable property. So personal effect and movable property, two things combined together. Okay, if two things are combined together, it is considered as a what? Personal effect, and it means any movable property you are using for your personal purpose, it is a personal effect and is not considered as a what? Capital asset. So If there is a no capital asset, there is no capital gain or loss can be calculated. Held for personal use by assessee or any member of his family dependent on him. For example, personal effect and movable. Best example is, say for example, car. If I am having car which I am using for my personal purpose, not for the purpose of carrying on business or profession, then such car is a personal effect. For example, I have another car which is used by my brother, my younger brother, and he is dependent on me, and once again it is what? Personal effect. If I am selling that car, I am transferring that car, sorry, it is not a capital asset, so it is out of purview of capital gain. Okay? So any kind of movable property which is personal use purpose are not capital asset. But once again there is a twist. What kind of twist? Say, see carefully. But excludes. First of all, we are excluding certain things from definition of capital asset, and that exclusion having once again exclusion, it means it is inclusion. Exclusion to exclusion, it means it is inclusion. It means following are excluded from personal effect and considered as what? Capital asset, in which first is what? Jewelry. So jewelry is a capital asset. So what do you mean by jewelry? Once again question arises, right? So jewelry means what? Any kind of ornament made of gold, silver, platinum, or any other precious metal or alloy containing one or more such precious metals and everything that is given, right? Stones, semi-precious stones, whether or not worked or sewn into any wearing apparel. If any such particular stones and everything, if it is sewn on your wearing apparel, then it will be considered as what? Once jewelry, right? You've seen sometimes in news also, right? That is sari of rupees 2 crore. Why it is 2 crore? Because thread are used, it is made of gold, and each and every line is considered studded with the diamonds and everything. Precious stones are sewn into it, right? So it is what? Capital asset. That is what? Jewelry, right? But normal wearing apparel, this shirt is not a capital asset, right? Because personal effect and movable property. Okay, hope it is clear. Precious and semi-precious stone, whether or not set in any furniture, utensil, or other articles, worked on or sewn into any wearing apparel that we have done. Then second is archaeological collections, drawing, painting, sculptures, or any work of art. Okay, if I have paintings made by Leonardo da Vinci, and it is what? So it is a movable, so it is a personal use purpose. I have kept in my drawing room, not in my office, so it's a personal purpose. It is what? Clear? Then third is rural agricultural land. What we are studying exclusions from capital asset. So first thing we studied, that is stock in trade. Second is a personal effect, and third is rural agricultural land. So now agricultural land are of two types. One is rural and another one is urban agricultural land. If you transfer any rural agricultural land, it will be exempt. So now question arises, sir, what do you mean by rural agricultural land? Okay, so agricultural land in India, first foremost thing is what? Must be in India. Within jurisdiction of municipal cantonment having population as below, capital gain from rural agricultural land is exempt under section 10 clause 1. Subsection 10 clause 1 is talking about agricultural income. Okay, we'll study in exempt income chapter. Okay, so first, if any population or municipal or cantonment having any population, now for the purpose of this we need to consider population as per the last census available. Last it was done in 2011, now it will be done in 2021. Once again, every 10 years they are having that census calculation, right? So if population is less than 10,000, if any municipal or cantonment having population less than 12,000, then in that case this particular area is what? Rural agricultural land. So any land connected with that particular cantonment or municipal will be what? Rural agricultural land. But if any city or municipal cantonment or having population of 10,000, means more than 10,000 but less than 1 lakh. So 10,001 to 1 lakh. So then there is a limitation of 2 kilometers. So from this limit of this particular city up to 2 kilometers, if there is any land, it will be urban agricultural land. But after 2 kilometers, it is what? Rural agricultural land. So up to 2 kilometers it is what? UL, and thereafter it is a RAL. Now third is 1 lakh 1 to 10 lakh, then up to 6 kilometer, and above 10 lakh up to 8 kilometer it will be UAL, and rest of the land will be what? Urban agriculture land. Rural agricultural land. And if you are transferring such rural agricultural land, there is no capital gain in that part. Okay. For example, let's see. Here it is city A. If you can see over here, is city A. City A having this limit, municipal limit, this one. You can see this blue part, right? It is a municipal limit of that particular city, and city having population of 25,000. It means it is more than 10,000 but less than 1 lakh. So up to 2 kilometers radius, if any land is there, it will be what? Urban agricultural land. But for example, this land is there, this land, it is out of this particular boundary, then it is what? Rural agricultural land. Another example, if I am taking that city B is there, population is more than 1 lakh but less than 10 lakhs. So up to 6 kilometer from what? From its municipal limits, up to 6 kilometer, if any land is there, then it will be what? A capital asset. Okay, it will be urban agricultural land and it will be capital asset. For example, if I am saying that if this land is falling over here, though it is out of that particular boundary within 2 kilometers, but it is within this city again. So I need not to just check where assessee is living or not. It is irrelevant. For example, assessee living in the city A. So it is not necessary that I need to just check out the limit in which the assessee resides. I need to check out where the land is situated. If land is falling within limits that prescribed and limits of any city or cantonment, if it is touching to that particular land, then in that case it will be urban agricultural land. Okay. Then specified gold bonds, special bearer bonds, and gold deposit bonds. These things once again are not capital asset. At last, one explanation is added. What it says, explanation: property includes and shall be deemed to have always included any rights. Any rights in what? In relation to an Indian company. Rights in relation to what? Indian company. But regarding what? Rights of management, control, or any other rights whatsoever. Okay. Now, why this kind of explanation was added? Because in 2012 there was a case of Vodafone, right? So we'll once again discuss this case law in depth when we study national taxation part, right? When we study non-resident. So right now I'm just giving you just overview that what happens. Supreme Court in case of Vodafone International Holdings held that influence, persuasion of a parent company over its subsidiary could not constitute as a right in the legal sense. What income tax claim that Vodafone Holdings BV have transfer rights or control that they are having on Indian company to another company. Transfer rights to that particular other country. Okay, so now income tax is willing to charge income tax on this. They are willing to consider it as a what? Capital asset. Supreme Court held that is cannot be considered as a capital asset. Now income tax has introduced this explanation, and they have introduced from retrospective effect from 1st April 1962. What are the wordings? See, shall be deemed to have always included. So it is effected from 1st April 1962. They have introduced to or supersede the decision given by Supreme Court. Okay. It was not prospective, it was a retrospective amendment and deemed to have always included. So from very beginning they have introduced this explanation, right? So any kind of right in management or control in a subsidiary company by parent shall be considered as a what? Capital asset once again, right? So guys, hope it is clear, right? So let's take one example. Example number 1 is there. Explain in brief about treatment to be given in the following case under Income Tax Act 1961. A farmer, a resident of Jaipur, sold his rural agricultural land situated in Nepal and received Indian rupees 2 lakhs over the cost of acquisition of land. So first of all, if I want to check that whether particular transaction is within the purview of capital gain or not, then I first need to check what? If it is a capital asset. So first see, it's land. So first is a property of any kind. Whether it is excluded from definition of capital asset, land situated in Nepal. Though it's a rural agricultural land, but it is outside India, we cannot say that it is excluded from capital asset definition. It is a capital asset. Okay. Received Indian rupees 2 lakhs over, so if there is a gain of rupees 2 lakhs over cost of acquisition of his land, definitely such gain will be taxable, right? Now let's moving ahead with this. So first of all, what we discuss that if there is a capital asset, if there is a transfer, if there is a profit and gain, then we need to study this kind of things. Then we will study, then we have studied capital asset definition. See, definition of capital asset is very wide. Wordings used are what? Property of any kind, be it a tangible property, be it intangible, land, building, car, furniture, jewelry, painting, drawing, rights, etc. Intangible, if I am talking about, then it is goodwill, patent, trademark, copyright. If you have a manufacturing license, the spectrum license, right? If you have exclusive rights of particular things, this right is also what? Capital asset. You have leasehold right, you have tenancy right, each and everything is what? Capital asset. I have taken one land on leasehold for the period of 99 years. Now 40 years is complete, now still 59 years are left. So can I transfer this kind of right to another person? Yes, I can transfer such a right to another person, and if I'm receiving anything on such transfer, if there is a gain, it will be what? Capital gain. Right here, let's see. Let us take some examples. First is a house property for personal residence, car used by car dealer, car used to carry in profession, office to carry in profession, flat for real estate developer, apparels, painting, goodwill, household furniture, shares in Reliance by FII, precious stones shown in wearing apparel. So first see, house property for personal residence. So it's a personal effect, but it is not movable property. It is immovable property. So it is included in definition of what? Capital gain. Right? Then car for car dealer. So we studied in definition of capital asset what? Stock in trade is not included. So car for car dealer is what? Not a capital asset. Stock in trade. That's why. Car used to carry in profession. Though it is a movable, but it is not personal effect because it is used by my it is used for the purpose to carry on my profession. So that's why it will be capital asset, and transfer of such car will attract capital gain tax. Clear? Then office to carry on profession, definitely if any property whether it is connected to business or not is capital asset. Okay. Flat for real estate developer, that is stock in. Once again, apparels personal plus moving, not a capital asset, outside, right, of the purview of definition. Painting made by Leonardo da Vinci, excluded from the personal effect, hence it is, see, it's a movable, it's a personal effect. I've kept this drawing in my drawing room, I just keep this painting in my drawing room, not in my office. I'm using it for my personal purpose. Though it's a personal, though it's a movable, but it is excluded from the definition of personal effect once again. So it is what? Goodwill, definitely tangible, intangible, whatever property of any kind is what? Capital asset. Household furniture, movable, personal effect, right? Household furniture, so outside of purview of capital gain. Shares in Reliance Limited by FII is specifically included, right? And precious stones sewn into wearing apparels. So this all about what? Definition of capital asset and everything. So this was our basic discussion about capital gain. Don't miss any beginning lectures because it is very important. We are discussing each and everything in detail. Okay, so thank you so much guys joining in this video. Now we'll discuss about transfer and other things in our next discussion. So thank you so much guys. If you're satisfied with this video and everything, then you can share with your friends. Our batches is begin already. Okay. And November 21, we have introduced a completely new system. Okay. It is a perfect blend of online plus offline. To know more, you can contact me on this number personally so that I can explain you what you in, right? So thank you so much guys.